Hey, Garth.
Kyle.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Like, we started together, picked this out, and then we had this little thing on the side, this griddle
Little thing.
that I've never used before.
And it's my favorite thing. And when people see it, they see the griddle, they think of, like, what's the food that you would think of for it?
Well, I mean, searing a steak,
Oh.
vegetables. I mean, again, I'm trying to think about all the things we cook.
So a lot of people are much more short-sighted than you because a lot of them think of like pancakes, bacon, grilled cheese.
Breakfast.
Food,
Yeah,
right?
Makes sense.
Instead, I'm a big fan of the Benihana's food. So like you said, steaks, we're gonna do that today. Seafood, we're gonna do some shrimp today. Vegetables, we're gonna do a stir-fry veggie dish today. But first, we have to break it in. So say goodbye to the griddle that looks really
The beautiful,
pretty.
clean.
Yeah,
Everything else is going to stay the same and pretty. So
it will.
that's
We'll try for that. Seasoning's kind of like a cast iron skillet. Cook on it over time. It gets more and more seasoned. It'll start to develop kind of a patina. And to do that, I've got some veggies. So chopped up some sweet yellow onions and some peppers. The sugar and the starch in these are going to help get that seasoning happening faster.
Okay.
So in terms of using it, we heat it first. And on this particular Monogram range, the light will turn on once it gets to its preheat level. I'm gonna drizzle a little on, and then the standard cooking technique for anything, even in a pan, heat up the pan, let the oil get hot, and then put the food on, and that'll keep the food from sticking. So I'm gonna start by drizzling a little bit of the oil on. We'll have you then we'll start with the peppers. We'll do these in batches.
Okay.
And we're actually gonna save them. They're still great to eat.
What is the real benefit of saying? I mean, it's going to factor into the flavor, everything you cook on it eventually, or what?
That's the way.
What's the concept behind it?
So grandma's cast iron skillet, you'd season with like bacon grease, so then everything tastes like bacon because
Yeah.
we all love bacon.
Yeah.
But for this, we're seasoning not to add flavor, but to make it resistant to sticking. So since we are going to eat these later, I'm going to go ahead and season them lightly with a little bit of kosher salt and some freshly ground black pepper. I recommend having some of these kind of firm spatulas and get into the corners with it. And then we'll also be using what's called a bench scraper for our cleanup. We're just gonna use paper towel soaked with just tap water. Cold water works best because we want a big temperature change between the two. And this is a situation where, an ounce of prevention's worth a pound of cure, as my dad would always say. If you'll do that after you finish cooking, before you sit down to eat, that 10 seconds, 20 seconds of cleanup will mean that you won't have to spend 5 or 10 minutes trying to strip down whatever was on
Is
it.
that right? Okay.
I say strip down because if we left some of that oil residue and some of the sugars from the peppers and onions stuck on there, it get real gummy. And so to try and remove that, you'd have to heat up the griddle again, scrape at it, maybe even use a chemical on it to try and get it off. But instead, we get finished, make sure we don't have any chunks of food or anything, slide that off, down into the tray, and then the wet paper towels. You know how the seasoned griddle? Some brands will get like a really dark patina, kind of like a grandma's cast iron skillet. This steel won't get as dark, it'll just have some splotchiness on it, but that alone will help make it resistant to having food stick to it.
Okay.
So now you're ready to cook.
All right.